Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And in this video we're going to show something that I got for the wood stove. Now I have just built a fire in the wood stove. Had to do a little bit of work to it. Went and made some new parts for it. Turned it black again. And had to replace that pipe going from the elbow out to the chimney. So, but I'll show you what I did. I went and made an aluminum handle or knob to put on the damper. And I made a knob for this. Well, I didn't make the knob. The existing knob is still there. My buddy Dale's the one who made this stove and gave it to me. And it was just a piece of black pipe with a bunch of holes drilled in it. And it's a nice heavy pipe, so I didn't really want to mess with the handle and leave it the way it was. So I just found a piece of sleeving that was off of like a tent pole or something like that, or selfie stick or something, and I just put a slit in it, in the back side of it here, so that it would slide up on there and be a press fit, and then left the same amount on each side to slide over it. Then I just made some press-in aluminum caps to put on each end and pressed those in with the vise, so they're not coming out. And we have been trying to come up with a way to make a fan forced air, but I wanted it to work off of a thermostat. And I don't understand how I'm going to make that happen, because if you're using a board from a furnace, then it has to go through so many checkpoints before the fan even thinks about coming on. The fan's pretty much the last thing that comes on. So basically I'd have to modify the stove, the wood stove, for that with a thermometer on the stove or a temperature sensor or whatever. And it just started getting a little bit too complicated. So I decided to just put the fan up there with a switch, an on-off switch, to turn it on. So I put it on. This is a 4-speed fan. It's got 4 speeds on it, not 3. And orange is the lowest speed, so that's what I have it on. So I was thinking about using something like this where I could turn the motor up and down, but that motor, it likes to overheat, and I just don't trust it to run constantly. So I decided to do something different. Try to go simple this time. So this came in the mail yesterday, and it's one of those fans that just sets on the stove. And you got your dummy book. Believe it or not, sometimes I have to go look at that dummy book, because some of these dummies don't do it the way us smart people do it, so we have to look at their dumb dummy records, because they decide that it's supposed to be one way and we think it's supposed to be another way. Alright, so it's packed up pretty good. And I think, considering the fact that that just picked up a bunch of stuff, check this out. Look at that. That means there's a magnet in there, so we know what this is. It comes with a thermometer for the chimney. And it does not require any electricity. And it really protected it. Alright, so it does have an electric motor in behind here. And it looks like those little motors you'd see in like a little RC car or something like that. And it's got a black wire and a red wire going to it. And it looks like it's going down to this plate that's in between there, that's sandwiched between this and the base. So there's probably some kind of a sensor in there or some kind of a charger or something that will charge. Basically all it is just generating power to run it. So you're supposed to just set this on the stove, and when it gets to a certain temperature, it's supposed to start turning. So we'll see. So now we've got that set on there, and right now it is 4:55 p.m. Is when we set it on there. So then you got this. Now I'm not sure where I'm going to put this. I think it's supposed to be so many feet from the stove, but my pipe is not in a location where it can be done that way. So let's just see what the instructions say about that sensor. It don't. It just tells you about the fan. Well, that's messed up. Still trying to get used to my new glasses. I had to finally break down and go buy a pair of $130-some freaking pair of glasses. Hey, 4:56. Check it out, guys. I'll bring you guys a little closer so you can see it a little better. All right, so we're working. And I just started this stove not long ago. Maybe 2 minutes before I started videoing. And that was around about 4:45, 4:40 something. So it's booking. I'm actually thinking I'm impressed. But I think what I want to do is bring that back to where the pipe is right behind it. So it'll get heat from the stove and the pipe on that. Then again, you do have some wires back here. Maybe I better bring that out here. Something like that right there. I'll just try center. Can't even make up my mind, can I? But I want it to point long ways on my shop. So for you to get a view of where it's going to be pointed at, it'll just kind of go around and turn there a little bit, maybe recirculate. But I just don't trust that fan. It gets too hot, and I can still use it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just really powerful. It blows not as much as I thought it would. It mainly blows it up, so I have to deflect it. And I'll just use that for when I need to really warm it up in here. But she's moving pretty good. I don't feel any air coming off of it. No more than the stove is hitting me. But I think that's a better way to go. And let's see what it says on the top of it as soon as I find my magnifying glass. Oh, and the computer's still working, guys. Let's see, this is a, says, heat-powered stove fan. Warning, hot base. Hold by handle. Do not use stove fan if stove surface temperature exceeds 345 degrees. Well, I'm not sure what that stove is supposed to put out. I've never actually measured it. I could measure it. I think I have a temperature. Oh, you guys are over here. I do have a temperature thingamabob that you pull the trigger and point, but I'm not sure it's accurate. So now we're going to take this and we're going to put it right on that stove. And I think I'm going to put it right there. That way I can see it straight up and down. And we'll see how high that gets. That'll tell us how hot it gets. But I can tell you right now, if that's true, what I just read, that stovepipe is 500 degrees. And it's still climbing. Now we're at 600 degrees. And that base, I believe, is just aluminum. So what I need to do is take that off and put it here and see if that changes anything. Because the max that you can put that on is 345 degrees. Well, that's done almost buried that. Yeah, it's up to 800 degrees. You didn't think I was going to change that with my fingers, did you? Yeah, right now we are at 850 degrees. Alright, so maybe that's a bad location. What the hell? Alright, let's see what it is there. But I'm pretty sure that base is just aluminum. It's coming down. It's down to 700 right now, but it looks like it's holding. Yeah, it's going down slowly. I've seen people review these things, and they've had them on wood stoves just like this. But their warning says not to put it on anything that gets hotter than 350 degrees. I think that's what it said. You know, 345 degrees. Well, oh, that is for Celsius. So in Fahrenheit, it's actually 662 Fahrenheit. So right now we're still at 700. So let's look at that. We're at 700. You see it right on the 7. So that's still hotter than what they recommend, not going over. Well, I guess if that thing starts pooling on the bottom of it and melts to the damn stove, then I guess I'll know that it ain't gonna work. But it is a wood stove fan, so it's supposed to be designed to do just that. But why the hell would you use aluminum? I mean, don't anybody that works with aluminum know that it will melt at, I think it's less than 700 degrees. So, it might be more than that, but I melted some aluminum one time with just a frickin' propane torch like that one right there. And if you can melt aluminum with that, then it's not a good metal to use to set on a steel stove that gets that hot. But it's working. So it's still at 700 degrees. So let me work with this fire a little bit. I'm going to take that magnet off of there, let it cool down, and see if maybe it's just gotten to the point where it's stuck there or something. I don't know. We'll let it cool down, and then we'll put it in that same spot and see how hot that spot is next to the heat. So I'm going to take this outside and cool it down. We'll be back. It just snowed last night, and there was a little bit of snow out there, so I set it down in the snow. Alright, so now let's see how hot this stove is. Of course, it might need to adjust from time of use because it's new, it's still probably just needs to work in. Because when it was going up earlier, it was going up pretty fast, and I could see the needle moving or stopping and then just jump ahead a little bit. It kind of got stuck. So right now, we're at 300 degrees. So we're only half of what we're allowed. But it's still moving up. Yeah, it's moving up to 400 right now. So now we're back at 500. So it's starting to move, it's moving fast now. I better put that somewhere else because I don't forget where I put it. Yeah, it's, we're at 600. I didn't realize the top of a stove got that hot. Oh well. I'm not sure if I want to trust that thing or not. That's aluminum. It's not steel. It's up there at 705 degrees, somewhere around that. Well, 745, 50. It's still climbing. Yeah. I'm not sure this is a good candidate for this stove. I was trying to cool it down there. So I wonder if I need to move that out a little bit further. Alright, so let's move this out here and see what the temperature is out here. because I know the front of this box burns cooler than the rest. You can tell because the first time I started this after putting that coating on it to blacken it, a stove black paste, it burnt just them areas right there. That's where it got the hottest. You can see where it got hot right there. So right here in this top corner is where it gets the hottest. And then it kind of feathers back into the new right here. So you can see that big spot right there. And then it comes down here and you can see this part right here at the bottom. It's getting hot. So right there on that spot and this up corner here on this side, and then on the back, it's about 2/3 of the way down, and then it turns into the new paste that I put on it. So the front of this thing actually will burn cooler than the back. So, but you can see just by the pattern on that stove where it gets the hottest. So, but it's actually moving air. I mean, it's not a wind tunnel or nothing, but do we really need a wind tunnel? But anyway, that's what we're trying, guys. I'll let you guys know eventually whether it's any good or not. I'm still trying to get used to these glasses. We're still at 700 degrees. So, I don't know if that thing's going to last on that stove at that hot. But, anyway, we're probably done working in the shop because hunting season comes Monday. And I'm relaxing and taking my good old leisure time, doing little things that I need to do, and that's it. Had to get that computer fixed. That was in the last video. And a guy mentioned about the BIOS that it must have got an update and corrupted the BIOS. Well, the only way that a BIOS can be updated is if you actually manually go into the CMOS and do it. Windows can't do it, not unless they've changed something. But I don't think Windows can change your BIOS. It might be able to change some files on your hard drive, but it can't change the CMOS or the BIOS. That's that safety has to be there. Otherwise, people will be overwriting their damn BIOS all the time. So I don't think Windows can access to update a BIOS. I've never heard of it unless it's a new thing. But I'm just lucky that there was 2 BIOS chips on this board. If there would have been one, that board would be trash right now. So I got lucky, which is not something that I consider myself being very much. So, but I'm just glad it's working. So now I got a freaking motherboard that I don't need coming. Of course, I need a backup, but oh well. Now it's a forced backup. I'm just trying to chat y'all until I figure out what's going on with this stove. I think it's pretty much stuck there on 700. It's bouncing back and forth from 750 to 700. So it clearly says it right on the top. And it says it right here. Where did I see that? Yeah, I tell you, I got new glasses. I'm still blind as a bat. Alright, says right there. Do not over 350 degrees Celsius, 662 degrees Fahrenheit. The optimum operating temperatures shown are for reference and guide only. They may vary in different environments as they have been tested in controlled laboratory conditions. So that's their way of saying, I don't know what it's going to do. I believe it would have been less time consuming for them to just write that. Be less words for us to have to read. So anyway, I think that'll end this. It seems to be working just fine. It's blowing. And as long as I got some kind of air movement, then I'm fine. And then I can just use that for when it's cold over there or something. I can just turn that on and get it warm over there and turn it back off. But I'd like to figure out a way to put it on a thermostat, so I can put a thermostat over there next to the door or somewhere over there on the other side of the shop, or even in the middle of the shop there next to the mill. But I'd like to have something over in that area so that I can control, because that's where I'm at all the time. That way I can control the fan, so if it gets warm enough over there, it can turn the fan off. But I can't find an easy, simple way of doing that without attaching a probe to the stove. I don't want to measure the stove temperature. I want to measure the room temperature and turn it off according to the room temperature, not the stove temperature. So I've seen them ones where you plug in the wall and then you plug your fan into it and it's supposed to give you the temperature, but you got to use a damn temperature probe off of the stove onto the unit. I'm not trying to do all that. I just want to put a fan up with a damn thermostat to where I can switch it to the temperature, turns it on and off. And there's got to be a way to use that as a switch. I just haven't figured out how to do it. Somebody knows how to wire that. I don't think you can run power through or 110 power through a thermostat. I'm pretty sure it'd probably blow it up. Because they're only designed for 24 volts. So unless I had a 24 volt fan, that could be possible. Who knows? Anyway, hope you guys learned something out of this. Learned what not to do and what to do. I just hope that doesn't turn into one of those you don't do. But I can't imagine any of the other guys lying about it on YouTube. I've never seen one say they melted one, so maybe I'm just over-exaggerating. Or maybe that thing there is under-exaggerating. Well, that's just a dummy paper, just like I said it was. Because if they're telling you that, they already know that stove gets more than 600 and, well, up past 700 degrees. So that's just so that they ain't liable for it after you get up to that. So no matter which one you take in to return because it melted or it didn't do this or it did do that, they're covered because you exceeded what they said that it would handle. Later, guys.